Tonight, Youth Parliament for Renewed Hope endorses Tinubu for 2027 re-election. Lagos Assembly moves to end multiple taxation with harmonized levies bill. Plus, ECOWAS Commission President calls for stronger parliamentary oversight. Good evening and thanks for joining us on Parliamentary News. I am Ene Ojonuba. Nigeria's youth across the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory under the umbrella of Youth Parliament for Renewed Hope has joined other groups in endorsing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for re-election in 2027. National Assembly correspondent Issa Mohammed has more.
The maiden meeting of the youth movement for Renew Hope brought together young people with like minds to discuss way forward in Nigeria. With the theme of the meeting, Renewing Hope Through Youth Leadership and Development, the youths endorsed President Tinubu for 2027.
On your mandate, on your mandate, on your mandate, we shall stand.
They believe that working together towards the re-election of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will secure a better life for Nigerian youth.
We understand the passion behind the Renewed Hope agenda of Mr. President and the agendas he has under his Renewed Hope initiative, and some of the agendas which he has already executed during his first term, and that is what motivated us to come with this initiative. And even after the re-election of Mr. President, this movement will still continue. We want to ensure the Nigerian youth and give them that renewed hope that one day Nigeria will be better than this.
The most important work of national development is the patient, disciplined, often visible work of competent people inside competent institutions doing serious work.
The youth also used the meeting to solicit for more opportunities for Nigerian younger generation to actively participate in nation building and supporting the ongoing economic reforms of the present administration. From the National Assembly, Issa Muhammad, NTA News.
The debate over the amendment of standing rules in Nigeria's legislative houses has continued to generate public interest among lawmakers, legal experts, and democratic stakeholders. Standing rules are critical in guiding legislative proceedings, debate processes, committee operations, disciplinary measures, and the general conduct of lawmakers within parliamentary chambers. Supporters of periodic amendments argue that the rules must evolve to strengthen legislative efficiency, transparency, accountability, and order in parliamentary activities. However, concerns have also been raised about the possibility of rule changes being influenced by political interest or used to suppress dissenting voices within the legislature. As conversations around legislative reforms continue, questions remain on how these amendments should impact democratic governance, legislative independence, and the overall quality of lawmaking in Nigeria. To provide insights on standing rules in legislative chambers is a legal practitioner, Kolawale Olowokere, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Good to have you join us on Parliamentary News. Firstly, why are standing rules important to the smooth operation of legislative houses?
Thank you for having me. Good evening, Nigerians. Well, standing rules with respect to legislative houses and proceedings is it's something you cannot do without. Well, naturally, when you have interactions of people, 1, 2, 3 people, as the number begins to graduate higher, you definitely need rules. Otherwise, there will be what may result in anarchy. Because if there are no rules, everybody will do what he deserves or what he desires to do in the manner he seeks to do it. And so the rules are there to check the proceedings and to put everybody in his place and to ensure that there's productivity at the end of the day, so that we don't just talk as legislators, and so that legislators don't just come to the floor of the House, make their comments, and at the end of the day you have really nothing to show for it. So you have procedures for motions, procedures for observations. There are procedures for virtually everything you do in the rules. There are committee procedures and all that. That's basically to give a holistic approach to regulation of conduct in the Legislative House.
Do you think the current standing rules need major reforms or only minor adjustments?
Well, I think it's always said that the only thing that is constant is change. And so there is always room for improvement. And you will discover that from the first various National Assembly sessions that have come in up till the 10th Assembly, there have always been one or two improvements on the standing rules. And so wherever legislators discover that there are lapses that are required to be amended in the rules, I think it's important and appropriate that those amendments come in place.
How can amendments to legislative rules improve transparency and discipline in Parliament?
Well, I think one thing you need to take out of amendments is the issue of selfishness and self-aggrandizement. Once the legislature is agreed on a particular position, and it's obviously usually brought up to cure a particular mischief. And so if there's a mischief that the House notices, the National Assembly notices a particular mischief, and they feel, oh, if we leave this rule to continue like this, we will suffer in certain quarters, or perhaps it will inhibit the smooth progress of legislative work, then it behoves on them to bring such to the notice of the whole House, and then proposals are brought forward for its amendment to cure whatever defect had become manifest as a result of implementation of those rules. But you have to be careful, especially with the presiding officers, such that they are not, in the name of amendment, sponsoring or promoting their own self-values, self-ambitions, and all that. And I don't know, you recall what happened on the floor of the Senate recently. And although it was nice that the Senate had to reverse itself, but you don't make rules anticipatory for future conduct and future events, particularly to kind of protect your interests ahead of where we are. Rules are not made to protect self-interest. Rules are made to protect the general interest of the Assembly. And so the moment you begin to shift, then you discover that the rules are operating below par.
Lastly, what safeguards should be in place to prevent standing rules from being manipulated for political interests?
Well, that brings to play the various parties in the National Assembly. You have the majority, you have the minority, and then first and foremost is that everybody will have to be objective with respect to these rules, because these rules are the guiding principles of the House. And so you don't bend the rules to favor a majority member or a minority member, or at least to hurt a minority member. It's meant to be something that is objective, above board, and something that should regulate both the majority and minority in the House. When you do that, you discover that you get rules that will focus on rules that would focus on the objectivity of the issues at stake and not give preference or advantages to one side over the other. So I think basically that when rules are being amended, it should be amended with objectivity in mind, amended with the interest of everybody at heart, and then amended to pursue a goal that is not self-serving, but serving the general population.
Thank you for sharing your perspective.
Thank you.
Thank you for staying with us. Now to news from other states. Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly has passed a resolution calling on the state government through the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Welfare to constitute a special committee to be placed at strategic entry points of the state to checkmate the influx of mentally challenged persons into Akwa Ibom State. The resolution followed a motion of urgent public importance by a member representing Uruan State constituency, Itoro Etim, which was seconded by the member for Esit Eket, Ibeno State constituency, Udobia Friday Udo. Assembly correspondent Usikak Okon reports.
Presenting the motion, Itoro Etim expressed concerns on the increasing influx of mentally challenged persons in the state, noting that their presence on the streets poses public nuisance and causes psychological discomfort to the people.
The people have become, I don't know if I should call it a distraction in the tourism agenda of His Excellency. And they are vulnerable people. They need support. They need help. And to get according to the destination of our choice, we need to make specified plans, structured plans, to rid our towns and environments of people that are unstable, because they can cause harm to other people and cause harm to themselves.
Some lawmakers, while speaking on the dangers of the presence of mentally challenged persons on the streets of the state capital, say the situation needs urgent intervention in order to preserve the state's image and public safety.
Mentally unstable people are roaming the street, throwing their private parts everywhere for public consumption. This is an abuse and also speak in the spirit and vision of the rights agenda of the governor in terms of tourism.
As part of the resolution of the House on this matter, that the state government should establish a special task force supervised by the Ministry of Women Affairs and Special Welfare, and then maybe the Ministry of Health, to establish that task force to check the influx of people with mental issues into the state. When investors, tourists move into the state, they will not be greeted by men with mental issues, some of them walking completely naked.
The Speaker of Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, Udemotong, directed the clerk of the House to communicate the resolution of the House to the appropriate authorities for immediate action.
As the Ministry of Health, to see what they can do, maybe to send some of them that are not quite well to the psychiatric hospital and take it for treatment. I think that's the illusion of this house.
Zikak Okon, NTA News.
Entrepreneurs and operators of small and medium enterprises will soon break free from the shackles of multiple taxation when the Lagos State House of Assembly finalizes work on Harmonized Taxes and Levies Bill 2025. Speaker Modashiru Obasa disclosed this at a one-day public hearing organized by the House Committee on Finance to collate contributions and memoranda from stakeholders in organized private sector ahead of the final passage of the bill in Lagos. Musa Toiliat has the details.
Lagos State is grappling with multiplicity of taxation. This one-day public hearing organized by the Lagos House of Assembly Committee on Finance is to harmonize taxes and levies across the metropolis.
We believe that governance becomes more effective when citizens are given the opportunity to contribute directly to policies and laws that affect their daily lives. Your presence here today is therefore not merely ceremonial. It is a vital contribution to strengthen democratic accountability and public trust.
There was a need to give an overview of the Harmonized Taxes and Levies Bill 2025.
The bill seeks to establish a unified, transparent, and technology-driven framework and be in sync with the federal government tax policy as recently passed by National Assembly. The bill simplifies collection processes, prohibits illegal roadblocks and unauthorized collections, and promotes electronic payment system to improve accountability, transparency, and efficiency in revenue administration.
Key aspects of the tax harmonization bill is consolidation of separate tax levies into a single unified system.
We had to harmonize over 60 different levies and connections to just 8. And not every single state were advised to harmonize all their collections also in line with what is happening at the federal level. The second thing is that administration of tax. You are also not going to be having different people coming to you to come and so it's also being consolidated, which is also very good for us.
One major focus of the public hearing is to collate memoranda from stakeholders in organized private sector.
The ADR processes, it was not spelled out in the bill. The processes of the ADR, it is not spelled out. It was only mentioned.
I'm seeking clarity. Is whether there's penalty at all for non-payment of taxes. I'm not sure I saw that, or whether there's penalty for late payment or underpayment, or even evasion of taxes and levies.
The one-day public hearing is organized by the House Committee on Finance ahead of the passage of the bill, which has killed second reading on the floor of the Assembly. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
The president of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS Commission, Umar Aliyu Toure, is urging parliamentarians in the region to exercise robust oversight on the implementation of the organization's work program. He was speaking while presenting a community report under review at the ongoing 2026 First Ordinary Session of the ECOWAS Parliament in Abuja. Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports.
The report addresses political affairs, democracy and governance with significant progress achieved in regional peace, preventive diplomacy, mediation, electoral assistance and institutional capacity building.
The Commission has continued to advance stability and democratic governance across our region. We have supported electoral processes in Benin and the ongoing process in Cape Verde and in Guinea. And we have also strengthened the mediation efforts in Sierra Leone, contributing thereby to political cohesion and peace in that country.
Toure says the consolidation of regional economic integration remains at the core of the Commission's mandate. He urges members of the ECOWAS Parliament to advocate timely and adequate release of community levies and contributions by member states. Meanwhile, Nigeria's delegation has defended its report following presentation by Awaji Inombek Abiante, highlighting the reforms and developments recorded between January and May 2026.
Nigeria implemented several reforms aimed at strengthening institutional effectiveness, enhancing accountability, and improving transparency across public institutions. These efforts were designed to reinforce public trust and support sustainable development.
Member states of Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea-Conakry also presented their reports to the Parliament. Muhammad Rabiuli, NTA News.
Once again, let's join Rabiu to give us an update of the ongoing 2026 First Ordinary Session of ECOWAS Parliament holding in Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. Over to you, Rabiu.
Thank you. It's been engaging and exciting, session at this chamber of the ECOWAS Parliament since it started on the 4th of May 2026, where issues of peace and security, top the agenda. But let me quickly, recap of the session so far, since from the commencement up to this moment. First of all, like I said earlier, the issue of peace and security, have been taken seriously in this chamber, where lawmakers, talked about how to strengthen, the peace and security in the region. And the issue of xenophobic attack in South Africa, especially Nigerians, where it reported that 2 people, lost their lives. It's also been discussed here at this chamber. And also in the same vein, the ECOWAS Female Parliamentarians Association Network also, organized a masterclass, training here where issues of trade, participation of women, and global trade also, been discussed, and women have been advised, to take the, opportunity, to engage themselves in trade. And the ECOWAS president also, graced this Hello Chamber where he presented the community report, and he stressed, the need, for collaboration between the ECOWAS community, issues that has to do with peace, issue that has to do with, bringing back, the 3 member states that have withdrawn from the bloc, also been discussed. So generally, the session has been so engaging, it's been so exciting, where there is a robust commitment from the lawmakers. The session also talked about the issue of regional integration, whereby the Commissioner for Peace and Security of the ECOWAS Parliament also graced this chamber, where he presented a compact, that has to do with the vision of ECOWAS 2050. Members of the Parliament, reacted to his presentation, where they discussed the issue of bringing back the 3 member states, to the bloc, and strengthening the security of the region, issue of trade, issue of single currency. All these have been discussed, during the presentation. So, in a nutshell, these are the engagements so far. And I tell you, before the end of the session, fruitful results, will be out. Back to you in the studio.
With that live report from Rabiu, we conclude parliamentary news tonight. Thank you for watching. You can follow the platforms showing on your screen for this newscast and other programs on NTA Parliament. Thank you for watching and have a good evening. Once again, I am Ene Ojanuba. Bye for now.